Good morning, Sue Smith with you, replacing Joanne this weekend and for the next couple of weeks. And in my spare time, Jimmy is such an education to me. I've been looking at Mr. Roboto, the Styx movie, the video that Jimmy played for us at the top of the hour. Yeah, apparently that I had never seen it. And in this video, it's an MTV classic, according to Jimmy. The robots really, actually, they look humans. They look human. Chris Abel is on the line. He talks tech with us every Sunday. Chris, have you seen this video? Are you a Styx fan?
Yeah.
I don't know where I've been. Under a rock, obviously. But those robots have they're humans with robot masks. I mean, but I wonder back in the 80s if they could have imagined that actually robots are replacing humans.
It's happening a lot faster than I think anyone imagined. I mean, that's always been the delight as a little boy. I always thought that robots weren't going to happen in my lifespan. And here we are. And already Amazon just announced that in their warehouses where they have been using robotic workers, they have now just added their 1 millionth robot. So their 1 millionth robot working in their warehouses. And this represents for them the tipping point. So they're now at the point where the number of robot workers is going to be more than the number of human workers at Amazon.
And what do they do?
They do a lot of what's called pick, pack, and shipping, which is a job I used to have.
Yeah, exactly.
Back in my early days. But you're basically in a large warehouse and you get an order and then you have to run off and gather the items and pick them, pack them, and ship them. But this is something now that robots can do.
Okay. So, I mean, we've seen the drones and stuff like that with Amazon. We know they've been leading that. But now there's a Swiss shoemaker that's using robots too?
This is incredible. So a Swiss shoemaker named On has been bragging. They say that they now have one robot that can actually create a shoe, which for them they say is the work of usually 300 people. So normally, if you take a look at the lifespan in terms of the beginning and the end of a running shoe being made, it goes through the hands of about 300 different people. Swiss maker On says they can replace all that with just one robot, and part of this is because they've got a new technology for making shoes. And so you've got a robot that's more of a robotic arm. It holds this form of a foot, and then they place a sole on the bottom of the foot. And then the robot holds this in front of a special spray technology called light spray, which can spray fabric. Think of the way that a spider sprays silk. Mm-hmm. Well, this is exactly the kind of technology that does that. And so the robot merely pivots and circles the form of the foot around, and then the threading and the fabric gets spread over top of the sculpture of the foot. It takes 3 minutes, and in 3 minutes they've got a complete shoe. The interesting thing is that the shoe, because of the technology of the fabric being sprayed, there's no laces. So from the top half of the shoe, it's kind of like a sock. You simply just slip it onto your foot and you can go off running. So this is something that On has come up with. It's a new form of running shoe called light spray. You just sort of pull it on. It's very comfortable. But for them, they say, look, they can reproduce shoes in just 3 minutes or less.
So that little boy that you were that never thought you'd see robots, what do you think of all these robots?
It's incredible. I remember as a little boy looking at the books in the library, and then they were sort of promising one day there's going to be robots, and it was always the robots you saw in Star Wars, and that's what I thought. It was always fantasy. It's kind of like dragons and unicorns. They don't exist, but and here I am as an adult. On Canada Am, I got to dance with Osmo, Honda's advanced humanoid android. Oh. And so that was me realizing my dream. The two of us got up on stage and we danced together, and that was fantastic.
Oh, I should not have been wasting my time looking at Mr. Roboto. I should have been checking that out, Chris. Well, that's funny because all morning I've been looking at news reports about the car industry, and it looks like it's so robotic in the car industry. So and they kind of look futuristic, human-y, as opposed to, I guess, some of the Amazon ones, which basically look like vacuums. I guess.
Yes, we are moving from robots that were basically just large arms that could assemble things on assembly lines in factories to now we're getting to the point where they are humanoid by nature. A lot of what we're seeing, especially in China right now, are humanoid robots that are going to be in hotels and restaurants and serving you food and chatting to you. It's crazy.
Wow. Okay, speaking of food, so you can eat out, fine dining, I guess, but virtually?
Virtually. So I love high concept cuisine dining, and I know Montreal is famous for this.
Yeah.
You know, the kind of restaurant where it's completely dark and you've got blind waiters serving you, that kind of cool stuff. Well, in New York, there's a very hot restaurant called Epic Now, and it's Japanese cuisine. But the cool part is you come in, you sit down, they hand you a virtual reality headset to put on. And so what they give you is a special dish that both the headset can recognize the dish in the virtual world, and then the waiters can actually see the disc in our real world reality. And the virtual reality creates this landscape of Japanese environments. And so the idea is that you are going through basically a trip. You're starting off in New York. When you put on the headset, you're now in Japan, and you're going through an 8-course tasting menu that's coinciding with what you're seeing visually and experiencing. You're actually getting to taste with actual food that's being handed to you by the waiters and the staff.
That's crazy. That is actually really fun. But, okay, I have a stupid VR question.
Sure.
Can you feed yourself? Like, can you see the food on your plate and bring it up to your mouth?
No, that's what is kind of fascinating. The only thing you can see is because they've got this special dish that can be seen in the virtual world, so just to make it easy for you to be able to grab your meal.
Right.
But the food and everything else, no. They put it this way. They say, imagine stepping into the perspective of a tiger during a hunt while savoring a perfectly crafted meat dish, or diving into the ocean depths while enjoying the freshest seafood flown directly from Japan.
Wow. Okay, I have to say, I think that would be pretty cool. I'm sure it's probably quite expensive, but and then from
$225 per person.
Oh, well, fairly reasonable. From the sublime to the ridiculous, Chuck E. Cheese. Hey, now there's an arcade.
Well, what's interesting is we are now shifting generations. And so for me, you know, as a young boy growing up, the big thing was to use nostalgia to have 1950s-style diners so that, you know, my grandparents could go out and experience the diners of their youth. Well, now what's happening, Chuck E. Cheese realizes the next generation, they're going to do the same thing, except instead of 1950s-style diners, it's 1980s-style arcades.
Oh, fun.
They're saying that today's grandparents are going to be nostalgic about living and spending time in the 1980s style arcades. And so with a whole new generation of middle-age and retiring age people, Chuck E. Cheese Entertainment is launching these 80s styles arcades just for older audiences that have a familiar mix of tokens and classic games like Donkey Kong, Ms. Pac-Man, and Galaga. It's going to be all these retro-style arcades. They've got 10 of them across shopping malls in the United States, and you can bet that they'll be coming up to Canada as well. And it's got retro-themed merchandise, so all the T-shirts and stuff will have logos from the 1970s and the 1980s. It's going to be really kind of cool.
Yeah, super fun. Chris, thanks so much.
All right, take care.
You too. That's Chris Abel. He talks tech with us every Sunday.